Be Frankie.
Yeah, I'm striving for greatness, trying to make it out. We're stuck in the matrix. Yeah, I'm striving for greatness, trying to make it out. We're stuck in the matrix. Yeah, I'm striving for greatness, trying to make it out. We're stuck in the matrix. Yeah, I'm striving for greatness, trying to make it out. We're stuck in the matrix.
Yo, what's good? It's your boy B-Dell. If you're new to this channel, hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell. But today we're going to be breaking down the sacred modalities of the etheric frequency that is ignited by the God mind and the God body with the unification of the soul and the spirit, to where you can tap into the spirit of Melchizedek in the space-time continuum, which causes a reformulation in your DNA sequence when the sun is at solar maximum. So ladies and gentlemen, get your notes out. We got a lot of information to go over. So with that being said, the 144,000 is predicated upon those who possess the etheric frequency. And the etheric frequency is basically perpetuated by the Schumann resonance spike. So those of you who don't understand what the Schumann resonance spike is, the Schumann resonance was basically postulated by a scientist in 1954 because he understood that the solar transmission in the brainwave functions is acclimated to the atmospheric realm that we live in third density, meaning that it's the heartbeat of the planet Earth. So that's why it's measured in megahertz frequency, because megahertz frequency is synonymous to cycles per minute, right? So now that's conducive to the precession of the equinox, because now you're going from the lunar cycle to the solar cycle because it's at the end of a cycle. So now when you look at the Schumann resonance spike, when you look at the triple or the double helix strand, that is basically a reformulation of the DNA sequence, which activates your etheric frequency, which is connected to the heart chakra, right? So that's the order of the sons of green light of the Sufi order, right? So now what you got to understand is that this Schumann frequencies, it goes from 7.86 megahertz frequency to 13.13 megahertz frequency, because the mother energy is coming from the fourth dimension. So that's why when you're talking about in the Bible, a new heaven and a new earth, in Revelation chapter 21, verse 1, new heaven and new earth, meaning that you have the fourth dimension merging in with the third dimension. And these cosmic energies is basically causing brain stimulation, and it's causing energy entrainment when you're talking about the activation of the neural synapses. So this is why the CIA put out this publication, and is talking about, you know, a reformulation of your genetical sequence, which is basically coherent to the oscillator systems within your biological structure, to where you harmonize with the planet, and by matching up with the circadian rhythm of the planet. Because in order to get to the next level, in order to get to these, you know, the next dimension, you got to harmonize with planet Earth. You can't be stuck on a low vibrational frequency and expect to get to the fourth and the fifth dimension, right? Meaning that you have to deviate from animism. Animism is a psychological construct that is based on third density, because the third dimensional realm is basically imperishable, meaning that nothing on this planet is sustainable. The only thing that's sustainable is the etheric frequency, which is connected to your higher self. So in order to tap into your higher self, you got to deviate from inanimate objects, right? Meaning that you got to be operating at 0 point energy, and that 0 point energy is the path of Malakut, which is connected to the heart chakra, right? To where, like I said, you don't have anything that's connected to the three-dimensional paradigm, to where it supplicates your emotions to the point it's transmuted into a weakness. So like I said, this is why the CIA put out this documentation talking about the ionic sphere has a magnetic field, and that magnetic field is connected to the brain stem and the brain cavity, which speeds up the mental vibration to where you absorb an influx of knowledge and influx of everything on this planet. So this is why, a lot of people been getting a lot of ascension symptoms. You've been feeling a lot more tired. You've been feeling, all these afflictions that's, because your body has to be acclimated to a certain atmospheric realm in order to survive the shift, which is the foundation of your great reset, right? So like I said, now when you look at the CIA document is basically talking about a revitalization structure of the God mind and the God body, right? So you can pull this up. This is a public record. So, and it's also talking about the electrostatic field, which is basically embedded to your neurological functions to where you can tap into the spirit of Melchizedek, which has a rhythmic pattern to where, you harmonize with the God frequency. And the God frequency is basically activated by solar transmission, which is light code activation. So now, what you got to understand is that the carbon body, the genetical sequence of it, is the highest form of technology on the planet, right? Which is why when you understand the multitude of westernized technology and westernized distribution, everything that's a part of the system is an emulation of the real technology. This meat suit that you living in, this carbon, this melanin, is the highest form of spiritual technology on the planet, to where you can basically escape the grid system, which is the draconian reptilian net, which keeps you encapsulated inside of a dome. So when the endocrine system is in alignment, meaning that you have all 7 chakras in alignment, that is how you basically tap into that energy through the spirit of Melchizedek, to where you can leave off this planet, because that's connected to the etheric frequency, which is your higher self, right? That's the unification of the soul and the spirit, meaning that the body has to be in alignment to be in alignment with the planet, because the planet also has chakra systems. So your chakra systems has to be acclimated to the chakras of planet Earth in order to ascend with the planet, right? So now what I said was, everything, when you understand the multitude of westernized technology, I'm going to show you something. When you understand the multitude of westernized technology, this is what you call an extruder machine, right? You see these chambers. You got these different chambers on the machine. This is basically the inception of it, of extrusion, came from ancient Kemet, and it's basically an emulation of the endocrine system when the body's in alignment, which is connected to the 7 energy cortexes, which is the chakras. So these chambers that you see from 12 all the way down to 5 and 1, 2, these are basically chambers of the body that has to be unlocked. So when you get to at the top of the machine, well, not the top, at the end of the machine, you have 3 different types of transducers, which is acclimated to the carbon body. So now on this extruder machine, you have a dye transducer. Then you have a suction press transducer, and you also have a drive motor transducer. So the dye head transducer is conducive to the fact that it is connected to the neuroendocrine transducer, which is activated by the God mind, right? So like I said, the dye transducer on this machine is an emulation of the crown chakra, to where you absorb these cosmic energy to tap into the spirit of Melchizedek. And then when you look at the bottom of the machine, that is basically the biological functions of the machine being acclimated to the root chakra, because that's where the energy is drawn from. That's synonymous to the Kundalini energy. So as the planet is going through a metamorphic shift, right, you have to preserve your sexual energy, because your sexual energy is connected to your spirituality. So if you're continuously draining yourself through sexual proclivities, you know what I'm saying, it's going to be hard for you to ascend, because your sexual biological liquids, I should say, your sexual biological liquids has a certain energy. And that Kundalini energy is conducive to the fact that when you look at that machine that has a screw inside, it's called extruder screw. That is basically the Kundalini energy that absorbs the highly technological functions of the machine, which is the body, to where it can ascend off the planet, so where you can activate the God mind, because they know that God is the highest extension of the mind, which uses the elements and matter to express itself, right? I hope I'm not losing anybody here, but what you got to understand is everything that's conducive to technological devices on this planet is an emulation of who we are. So that's why you have the influx of artificial intelligence. Because they need black synthetic matter, which is melanin, in order to activate these forms of artificial intelligence that's connected to the technocrat system of the deep state shadow government, right? So like I said, when you look at this right here, at the top it says the 12th chakra as the golden bud or flame. And that golden bud or flame is the etheric frequency, because ether is basically an amalgamation of gases that's connected to the highest energy of who you are in third density. Because when you understand everything on the planet, when everything slows down in vibration, right, it creates physical matter through the visible light spectrum, right, which is carbon, right? So like I said, you got to preserve your sexual energies. So that's why I say, when you look at this, the brain stem is connected to the serpentine energy. That's why you look at the brain stem right here. It's also connected to the endocrine system, right? Because what you got to understand is that the carbon body is an electromagnetic generator and a light code transducer, to where it transmutes the carbonated body into a crystalline state. In order to reach that crystalline state, you got to have all your 7 energy cortexes in alignment, right? You got to be in alignment. You can't be spiritually unbalanced. So now this is why you got to understand is that the heart chakra is green, because I told you before in my old videos, the heart is the seat of the soul, right? So the soul comes down to this planet, right? It's entrapped inside this matrix dome system, under a grid system, under the sleep spell of Leviathan. When the soul reincarnates back on this planet, it enters through the pineal gland, but the heart is the seat of the soul, right? So that's why only words from the heart can reach the heart, meaning that you got to be speaking from the soul in order to revitalize, people's biological functions with the truth. So that's why sometimes when you hear people speak or whatever, you be like, man, I felt that. Man, he was going in. He know what he's talking about. That's because, your creativity, your neurological functions, when you're talking about neurocardiology, all this stuff works in symbiotic connection with your 7 energy cortexes. Now, like I said, as I said before, you cannot reach the higher dimensions or tap into the spirit of Melchizedek if you have a hater frequency on you. If you clingy, you know what I'm saying? You're judgmental, you have self-pity, you got a low vibrational frequency, it's going to steal electrons from the heart chakra. So that's like I said, when the heart chakra is closed, it basically creates particles of sodium atoms. And those particles of sodium atoms is connected to a negative frequency of the fact that when you hear people say, oh, he getting salty, or I'm mad. Like I said, the body naturally produces salt when you get mad at somebody, or you get pissed off, or you're depressed, or, when you're going through, many different forms of turmoil on this planet, when you're going through life and you going through these experiences. Like I said, the heart chakra, when you at a low vibrational frequency, it steals electrons because the body is producing particles of sodium atoms. So like I said, in order to tap in that green etheric frequency, because when you're in alignment, your aura is green, right? Which is synonymous to, I forgot what they call it. It is your energetic morphic field, because your energetic morphic field has a color band, and the color band has a color spectrum that's connected to your nervous system, which is also an emulation of your neurological functions. So if you're thinking at a high vibrational state, right, you're going to have an aura around you. If you tapped into the love frequency, you're going to have an aura around you, right? So that's how, Mother Nature, she's, that's why I said the Schumann resonance spike in itself is conducive to the fact that it's vibrating on the green etheric energy. I'm going to show you again. It's not a coincidence that the Schumann resonance, the frequencies of it, right? The amplitude frequencies, when you look at it, it's not a coincidence that it's an emulation of the color spectrum of the heart chakra. So you got to be vibrating from a place of balance, a place of love. So now when you get to this, this passage right here, it says, you know that eventually the time will come when these supreme beings, the Anunnaki, will have to descend upon this planet Earth in order to guide the inhabitants back towards their home and beyond the stars, thereby helping them to become once again supreme beings of the pure green light ethereal energy that they once were. But first, one must be sent to prepare a way. That is one myself. This is written by Dr. York. So like I said, that pure green light, the ethereal energy, right, is connected to the Schumann resonance spike. So that's connected to your DNA functions, right? So this is why everything on the planet is starting to, go through everything is waking up, because the neural synapses is activated by the God mind and the God body, right? As I told you before, when you break down the acronym of God, right, the God is basically based on solar frequencies. You got gamma radiation, omicron radiation, and delta radiation. Gamma radiation is the highest frequency. What color did Incredible Hulk turn when he tapped into his energy? He turned green, because gamma radiation is the God frequency. So everything on the planet that's connected to nature is starting to speed up their mental vibration, though. So this is why you see the animals is basically fighting back against everything that's unnatural to the planet, right? So everything on the planet is starting to wake up. You see these whales are starting to attack ships. Not a coincidence, right? So this is why Gaia CEO warns United States is in a spiritual war, because as I told you before, I can't make this up. In my the judgment of the solar eclipses video, I told you that the planet, this geographical location of America, is in a state of judgment, right? Meaning that it's based on a spiritual war, because when you have that solar eclipse that's going to pass through the United States of America, and it's going to put an X over the planet on April 8th, 2024, right? It goes through 7 cities called Salem, right? Which is a suffix of the word Jerusalem, because America is the oldest geographical landmass of the planet. Everything started here first, because this geographical location was also connected to Atlantis and things of that nature, but that's a whole different video. So like I said, the planet is going through an ascension process, right? So, like I said, now this is why, the emergency alert system, they're putting out publications talking about, let me go over here. This is created by the United States government. It's in a national emergency. These objects are suspected to be extraterrestrial. Now, what you got to understand is that the Schumann resonance spike is connected to you tapping into your higher abilities, which is connected to the etheric frequency of the spirit of Melchizedek. So when you tap into that energy, you're able to activate your higher senses, which makes you a supreme being or extraterrestrial. So are we the extraterrestrials that they're talking about when we get these activations? Because I put out this video not too long ago when we were talking about the CMEs, which is the coronal mass ejections. These coronal mass ejections that's being projected down on the planet are solar frequencies that is basically an emulation of the ancestors that's activating the bodies of the chosen ones, which is the elect, or the 144,000, right? So are we the extraterrestrials that the government is afraid of when we get these DNA activations from the Schumann resonance spike that's connected to the brainwave functions and the brain stimulations and things of that nature? Just something to think about, because it's not a coincidence that the military is now putting out laser weaponry that has a tachyon supersonic wave frequency to it. Now, we're going to keep going. So like I said, the Schumann resonance spike, right? Everything is speeding up in vibration. Everything is starting to dematerialize in the three-dimensional state, because the three-dimensional state doesn't have any type of sustainability. So the Schumann resonance spike is connected to the solar frequencies that's permeating the stratosphere and the ionosphere and hitting the atmosphere and coming down, because it's basically manipulating the grid system, because the grid system is connected to the dome that we live in, right? And when that dome is basically the veil has been lifted, right? That's when you have these fourth and fifth dimensional energies that's coming through these grid systems, and it's basically going to cause an activation, it's going to cause a great reset, and it's going to cause a great awakening. So this is why you see the highways and stuff like that. Extreme heat buckles Highway 6. You know what I'm saying? So now, what you got to understand is, like, we do live in a matrix system, and the matrix system in itself is connected to the grid system under the fermented dome that was created by the jealous God of the Bible, right? So we do live in a matrix, because your mom's yoni portal is how you get to this planet Earth under a three-dimensional state. So you can look at see a lot of people negate certain things because they don't understand the multitudes of the Bible. They don't understand that, you know, a lot of these monotheistic teachings, they have the truth in them. So when you start talking about the matrix, and then you hear Christians talking about, are you a conspiracy theorist? They negate the fact that matrix is in the Bible. You go to Exodus, you know what I'm saying? It's in the Bible 5 times. You go to Exodus 34:19, Exodus 13:15, and Exodus 3:12, and other verses as well. So all that opened the matrix is mine, right? Because the true Lord is Melchizedek, who is synonymous to Thoth is Tahuti. So that's what it is talking about. All that opens the matrix is mine. That Melchizedek energy, right? You're gonna own the planet again once the veil has been lifted. That's being propagated by the matrix system, which is under a grid system, right? Now, we're going to get into the video here for a second. Like I told you, everything on the planet is starting to wake up, because everything that's natural, everything that contains, everything that's connected to nature is reaping the benefits from these ascension symptoms that is activated by the Schumann resonance.
Packing and even sometimes sinking boats. And the most recent incident happened about 3 weeks ago. This was off the coast of Spain, where 3 orcas hit a sailing yacht. They sunk it, and researchers don't really know why this is happening, but there's some speculation that this could be, and get this, a series of coordinated attacks. It sounds so bizarre when you hear it. But joining us now is Jeff Corwin, a biologist and host of Ocean Treks with Jeff Corwin. Jeff, so 15 of these incidents between orcas and boats off the Iberian coast in 2020, is that a lot? How uncommon is it for orcas to come across and interact with boats this way?
Gaia, I'd say this is some pretty extraordinary orca behavior. These are incredibly
packing, and even
so like I said, everything is starting to wake up, because you're forgetting, a lot of people negate the fact that the Schumann resonance is connected to solar frequencies that contain EMF waves that is measured by 7.83 megahertz frequency, which is operated in cycles, right? So that's the Queen Mother Seat, which is connected to 13.13 megahertz frequency, which is the divine feminine energy that's coming to the planet, because like I said, the divine feminine energy is connected to the higher dimensions that's hitting the 3rd dimension. Because what you got to understand is that the Schumann resonance and the ionosphere, it has a 20 to 30 mile gap. So it's not a coincidence that everything that's taking place, when you're talking about these frequencies that's in the planet, it causing a great awakening. Because not only are we going to wake up, the animals is going to wake up too. All right. So now, Let me get over here. Now, you got to get this book right here, written by the master teacher, Dr. Malachi Z. York, The Ancient and the Mystic Order of Melchizedek, right? Notice you see the background is green because the spirit of Melchizedek, when you tap into that energy, you get that green auric field, right? Now, what you got to understand is that the green Ethereum energy is connected to the emerald color, which is interpenetrated from the Schumann resonance, which basically cause a reformulation of the Earth's atmosphere. So this is why you have a vertical exchange of etheric frequencies that has a double helix strand of column waves that has a tachyon frequency that basically alters the biological functions and the biorhythm of the planet to where you harmonize with the planet, right? So you got to go through many different initiation processes in order to tap into this energy. You got 3 different levels. You got the path of Nasut, which is initiation. Then you got the path of Malakut, which is operating at 0-point energy, where you connect to animism and deviate from inanimate objects, right? To where your emotions is not supplicated into a weakness because you're balanced. So you got the path of Malakut, right? To where you become an adept. Now, the path of Nasut is where you become a neophyte. You go from neophyte at the path of Nasut, which is initiation. Then you go to the path of Malakut, which is operating at 0-point energy when you imbalance, right? Where you become an adept. And then once you become an adept, you become a master at the path of Lalut, which is the abode of the Most High, to where you ascend with the planet in the 5th dimensional frequencies in order to activate these God functions, right? So now, this is why, you know what I'm saying, it's important to understand that this is why we're tapping into certain energies. So some of you are starting to get a lot more smarter. Your social awareness is starting to be a lot more on point. You're starting to figure out things that you wouldn't have noticed, you know, back then, whether it be from a governmental standpoint, when you're talking about these psychological operations, or whether it's through a relationship, right? That's because the soul of man, Solomon's temple, is activated by Holy Ghost particles, which are nitroids. So now when you look at a pyramid, what is a pyramid? When you break down the etymology, it means fire in the middle, because that fire in the middle is connected to the heart chakra, which is connected to the etheric frequency, which is a gas, right? So this is why you have the triad of the symbolic character of Solomon. That's who you are, right? To where you reap the benefits of these solar frequencies, right? These Holy Ghost particles, these are nitroids, right? Nitrogen, fire in the middle, pyramid, right? Now, when you go to this part right here, it says, what happened to the sons of the green light? It said the sons of the green light, the Sufi order, when you basically went against the, well, what happened was when you fell victim, when you fell in frequency, this is where you was basically disconnected from your higher senses. So when you understand, in order to get back into that etheric frequency, you gotta tap into the ancient and the mystic order of Melchizedek, right? You got to go through these initiations, and the foundation of that initiation is self-realization, right? You got to understand yourself intuitively, right? You got to love yourself intuitively to where you deviate from the matrix. Sometimes you got to use the matrix in order to get out of the matrix, right? Sometimes you got to use materialism in order to pull yourself out of materialism. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm saying you have to be balanced enough. You can't be so fixated on inanimate objects in the mundane, trivial aspects of the world. And you can't be so, your energy can't just be so fixated on that. You got to find that balance in order to leave this planet, right? We all love nice things, but I don't love nothing here enough for me to keep coming back to this place. So that's the way you got to raise up your mental vibration. You got to use the matrix in order to get out. You got to use the matrix in order to build your autonomous form of solitude and tranquility, to where you deviate from those who are not vibrating on the same frequency as you, right? Like this, like for instance, the way I set up my energetic space, I set it up like this because I don't have to go nowhere. I don't want nobody in my space. If I don't need outside stimulation, you know what I'm saying, in order to reap the benefits of, entertainment. I can entertain myself in this house, by reading some books, and studying and things of that nature. I don't need outside stimulation. Everything's internal. You see what I'm saying? And everything's internal, which I said is connected to the path of Malakut, meaning you got to be operating at 0 point energy. You got to be balanced. Use the material world to connect with your spirituality. That's all I'm saying. So that's another way to tap into that energy of Melchizedek. You got to be vibrating at a high frequency, right? Now, it says right here in this publication by Seven Bomers is that this is by far not the first Aquarian age or the Golden Age. In fact, this basically represents a shift. The energy of the cosmos actually assists a person, right? So this is where you find higher truth. A lot of, the more you're going to have these psychological operations, that means that, a lot of people are starting to tap into their abilities, meaning that they got to dumb us down in order to conform to this technocratic society, this dictatorship, this deep state democratic system, right? Which is a totalitarian feudalistic society. So this is why I said, the Golden Age movement is designed to get the whole world to rewind and relive a long time past. The most recent Golden Age and that ain't really talking about too much of nothing. Because what you got to understand is that everything is based on the precession of the equinox and it operates in cycles. And I told you that the Schumann resonance operates on cycles because that's how you measure hertz, cycles per minute. So now since you're going through a different cycle, so this is why God, the God mind, the God body, God reincarnates every 25,000 years. We at that 25,000 years, so that's why we in the Golden Age. So with that being said, I'm gonna show you this video for a second. You have these energies coming in.
That's that.
You have these energies coming in. You see? That is pure cosmic energy. That's because, like I said, this grid system is starting to be depleted. The grid system is starting to be depleted. So these energies is coming in, that's where you get the activation. So that's why, like, what you gotta understand is that some parts of the planet, the grid system is basically dematerializing. So that's why some parts of the planet, you might go in one room, it's called the Mandela effect. You might go in one room, it reads something different, and then you go back into the other room. Certain energy points on this planet is connected to what's going on in the cosmos. So as the grid system starts to dematerialize, everything is going back into its natural state, right? Whether it's the material world that we live in, or if it's basically the carbon functions that's connected to planet Earth, everything's going back into its original state. That's pure cosmic energy hitting the planet, right? Pure cosmic energy. So now when you look at this video, pause. You see that? That is the grid. We live in a fermented dome. When you look outside of this, that is nothing but intrinsic light, solar radiation, cosmic radiation, etheric frequencies that's hitting the stratosphere. So that's why they said when eventually, the whole sky is going to be cracked open. That is what you call the big rip in the universe, which is the open vortex, what I was talking about. And it's going to happen sometime around August 11 or August 12. So that's going to be the inception point of when they're going to have the so-called alien invasion, talking about the EMP. We got hit with an EMP because, like I said, this fermented dome outside of this, when you see that light, that is the energy that's basically going to reset everything on this planet. So it's going to happen either two ways. It's either they're going to create a reset on top of the natural reset to hide the fact that we're going through a reset, or they know when these energies is coming in. So this is why they make all psychological operations that's connected to gematria. So that's why, you know, certain things that start, you know, that takes place is already premeditated. See that? I'm saying, look, the sky is like broken open. You're under a fermented dome. I'm gonna show you something here. We're gonna go back to that video. Now, what you're looking at right here is a planetary grid projection that has a tetrahedra grid system that's connected to Metatron's cube of the Saturn Moon matrix. And these grid systems are basically connected to the ley lines. So this is why they call it a planet. When you look at the suffix of the word net, planet, right? Net, because the planet is the draconian reptilian net that keeps your soul encapsulated and encased inside this planet for the perpetual state of reincarnation. So this is why they do the things they do, because they know that this is the last reincarnation cycle, meaning that their time is up. So this is why they put different monolithic structures and buildings on certain ley line grids, certain structures to hide these energies. You know what I'm saying? So this is why they come out with this movie. Let me go here. They came out with the movie, the new movie, Fast and Furious, right? Notice you see the word X, where you want to call it Planet X, Nibiru, the mothership, the great destroyer. When you talking about the Old and the New Testament of the Bible, X is a symbology of judgment. It tells you right here, Jason Momoa obliterates the Vatican in the second trailer of Fast X. X, like I told you, October 14th on my birthday is the first solar eclipse of this year. That's going to be the precursor to the X that's going to be over the planet of the other solar eclipse on April 8th, 2024. It's going to put an X over the planet. Now, this is important because the Vatican in this movie got basically, you know, destroyed. So the X over that over the planet has a cosmic energy. It's denoting the fact that there's going to be a cosmic energy over this planet that is basically going to destroy certain monolithic structures that's basically in alignment to these grid systems, right? You got certain churches, you got certain Freemasonic buildings, you got certain government buildings, right? You got certain buildings that's connected to the planetary projection grid system, which is the ley line. Like I told you before, look at the word planet. The suffix of the word net, planet. You're encased under a grid system or fermented dome that's connected to the grid of the ley lines, a draconian reptilian net. So it tells you that the lower dimensional beings, which is also make up the foundation we stand on, which is the third dimension. Like I said, everything on this planet is imperishable because it's connected to the foundation of their pantheism. So that's why it shows you right here that this grid system has a certain tetrahedron energy to it. This is why you got certain churches and stuff like that. So don't be surprised when you hear places like the Vatican being destroyed, certain government buildings being destroyed, but they're going to try to distract us and try to say, oh, it was Russia or it was China that did that. No, it's that new cosmic energy from this video here that I'm showing you. You got to connect the dots. It's that pure cosmic energy here that's causing, it's that pure cosmic energy here that's causing a judgment, right? Because when the sky is cracked open from the open vortex, that's when all these energies is basically going to dematerialize everything that puts you under the sleep spell of religion, the sleep spell of money, right? This is why you having Cash App and things of that nature starting to have a lot of malfunctions when you're talking about the banks and stuff. Everything that's connected to the sleep spell has to dematerialize, and it's being dematerialized because you have these energies that's coming through the grid. What I'm showing you in this video, right? Time is up. The energies that's coming in, these new energies coming in is not like I said, it ain't no joke. It ain't no joke, baby. Because their time is up. Now, so now, like I said, you can't be so fixated on the emotional construct of the three-dimensional matrix system, which is connected to the sleep spell. Meaning that you got, like I said, if you have an emotional connection to this material world, you're going to fall when the system falls, because everything has to be destroyed. Everything that kept you under the sleep spell. So when you tap into, when the 144,000 chosen ones are activated, they're going to be bringing a certain truth that's basically going to destroy your belief systems. So, like I said, it's going to destroy you. So if you operate from a place of ego, you know what I'm saying, you're not going to reap the benefits of ascension, because the precursor to ego is anger, delusion, greed, jealousy, lust, hatred, racism, and things of that nature. You're at a low vibrational state. You're not vibrating from the green Ethereum energy. You're not vibrating at the heart chakra. You know what I'm saying? You're not tapping into these energies to where you become a supreme being, because you got a hater energy to you, right? Now, like I said, this is basically talking about how the information or these cosmic energies, these light code transmissions, is going to cause a DNA reformulation. So that DNA reformulation is based around the fact that it's operating through light code transmission, which is the cymatic frequencies of fractions of light, right? Or angles of light. Angels of light. It's not a coincidence that angel or an angle is basically an anagram, because when you break down the suffix of the word angel, you get the word El, which is a derivative of Elohim, which makes you a god of supreme being. When you take up on these light code transmissions that's activated through gamma radiation of the Schumann resonance spike, to where you can tap into your godhood, which is the spirit of Melchizedek, which is the Sufi order of the green Ethereum energy, right? That's what that's talking about. Because that information in itself is connected to your higher self, where you're going to tap into a certain energy. You remember who you are. Remember your purpose. Understand your purpose, why you came back to this planet. It's not a coincidence that you're propagating a certain truth that's not acclimated to the masses on the planet. See, this is where, the 144,000 chosen ones, we are the ones that's going to get these DNA activations. We are the ones that's going to be tapping into the spirit of Melchizedek, while you have people trying to protect the program of the Matrix in order to keep this false construct of self-preservation. Because nothing that's everything that's not connected to nature doesn't have sustainability. It's going to be destroyed once the sky cracks open, when you have that open vortex of that cosmic energy. So that's the abode of the Most High. When you have Anu, look at that video I put out like 6 months ago, what I was telling you, judgment of the Most High. I think it's the judgment of Anu. It's one of those things. You got to go through my videos. So like I said, in order to activate those energy, you activate the cosmic keys of Solomon, of Solomon's temple, pyramid in the middle, Holy Ghost particles, nitroids, where you get these activations, right? Now we're going to get into a video. I meant to show you earlier, but I got to talking too much. But we're going to see what the master teacher got to say about, the 144,000 chosen ones. You know what I'm saying? That green etheric energy. You know what I'm saying? Because we living in a time right now where, the chosen ones are basically we're going to face a lot of afflictions, whether it be through family members or friends, because they all have a emotional connection to this planet, right? So when you tap into that spirit of Melchizedek, you're going to propagate a certain truth that the people in your city or the people amongst you they not ready for that type of information because, like I said, they have emotional energy that's connected to this realm. So it's not meant for them to ascend. So that's why there was a publication that came out not too long ago that said that only about, it said that 60% of humans on the planet are walking around with no consciousness, meaning that they don't have a soul. So in order to galvanize that energy of the spirit of Melchizedek and to tap into the space-time continuum to where you connect with your higher self, you know what I'm saying? You got to have a soul. You got to have a soul. You got to have that non-ether frequency on you. I'm going to play the video.
Why will we allow ourselves to, why is we in this condition? Why can't what's in us, the inner being, be brought forth? And the greatness is Allah who subhanahu wa ta'ala put upon us. Our ancestors, these are things that our ancestors did. And we are the children, our children's children.
No. Your ancestors, let me correct you. Your ancestors were also being visited by beings to try to help them, because in the realm that they were in, they had their degree of devilishment also. Your father Lot, don't forget Lot, turned against Abraham and went down to Sodom and Gomorrah because he thought it was a better place to be. So he turned against the village of peace and went into the city of New York, to the village, in a figure of speech, and wants to live in the village with those kind of people. It's been going on for a long period of time. And beings have been trying, but see, what is long to y'all is short to us. What 6,000 years is less than a day to us. The whole information of your whole planet could be absorbed in a couple of minutes by any master. All information of your whole planet. You're developing rapidly, much more rapidly than you're supposed to. Because you'll find the abundance of beings surrounding this earth plane, trying from different galaxies to keep you people from being destroyed by the cherubim. And we're trying to wake you up soon enough to get you back, but it seems almost impossible. So many people have learned to love the cherubim as opposed to the seraphim.
So like I said, the cherubim and the seraphim, those are the two delineations. So when you look at the precession of the equinox, when you look at the sun cycle and the lunar cycle, when you look at the 24,000 year equinox, when you look at it, it's basically an emulation of the Circle 7 that's on the Moorish publication, the Circle 7, right? Because the things that make up this planet Earth is plant, animal, beast, protoplasm, the original man, the cherubim, and the seraphim, right? These are the 7 principles that govern this three-dimensional reality. So that's why, like I said, everything is operating in cycles, because everything has a inception point and everything has an ending. I'm gonna keep playing the video.
Can you tell me who Yanin is? Yanin is an extraterrestrial being who incarnates into the body of Imam Isa to pass on information to you. He is one of the elders, the 19th. He resides in the 8th galaxy of the 19 galaxies. And they do travel by ship, as you would call them for lack of a better word. And they've been intergalactically traveling and coming to this planet since 11,500 years ago. And Yanun is one of the masters that's been assigned to awake you people up. Because you people are a portion of ancient births of the Jabarians, as you probably don't even know what that means, right? And some of you must be ramping up. And so masters would come. The master that you saw was called Rama. If you would have gotten a closer look at him, he comes from 4,000 years before Jesus. If you would have got a closer look at him, you would have saw that he had white hair and red eyes. He's a caramel complexion, fairly thin, and his name is Rama. He visits this planet many times. He lives in Shambhala. I don't care how crazy it sounds to you. One day you'll find out it's true anyway. And in the center of your planet.
Now, remember, I was telling you, like I said, anybody who has a Circle 7, that is basically the fountain. When you look at the Circle 7, you have these gates you have gate points inside the 7 inside a circle, and that's basically an emulation of what you're looking at right now, right?
World in the center. There's subterranean pathways to different chambers in the center of your planet. The pyramids are entrances there, and so are the pyramids out in South America and the Nairobi Desert, and out at the Antarctic is the entrance in. And Yanin is one of the masters of the school of the bird. They call him the feathered bird. This is why in South America, when they look over the sky and they see this image of this bird on the ground, that is his school. So certain arriving masters to this plane knew what school they would go to. Each galactical, what do you call it, body had their own school on this planet. Muslims don't realize that throughout the Holy Quran, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is speaking about angelic beings coming to earth, you've interned them because of Christianity in the 18th century into little white babies with wings when you're talking about terrestrial beings or extraterrestrial beings who have been visiting y'all for a long period of time. Because some of you are the sons and daughters of extraterrestrials who came here, and you have to be brought back to power to defend this planet against the destruction by Azazil and what they refer to as Lucifer and the other 200 fallen angels, which were again extraterrestrial beings who invaded this planet 6,000 or 5,000 some odd years ago and have been ruling. And of course,
so he's basically talking about 6,000 years ago. 6,000 years ago is when you had 1/3 of the galaxy that went against the order of Anu. Those are the 200 fallen angels that came down with Lucifer, right? And they basically mated with the daughters of Cain, which is the Canaanite, because the Canaanite bloodline that was cursed with leprosy are the ones who control the three-dimensional paradigm, who are being controlled by the 200 fallen angels, who are the draconian reptilian archons who control the matrix system. So that's why the matrix system in itself is basically encased around a dome. So like this is why you see these beings right here over the planet, right? Not a coincidence. Void in Darkness by Dr. Malachi Z. York. You got to get this book.
Masters to either hover or to go into the subterranean parts of the planet, and they just come up to either ascend to the earth to teach man, or they will make intergalactical communications, leave and come back. And this is what Elijah saw. This is what Jesus said when he said he was caught up in a whirlwind and the clouds went up. The whirlwind and the clouds is the ship itself. Elijah was taken up in a chariot, and Enoch was translated into heaven by a chariot. It's throughout the scriptures. And 3 men visited Abraham at his tent, and then one went up, and the other 2 went on down into Sodom to try to talk Lot and his family into coming out. You know, these stories that you have interpreted in the scriptures strictly as religious dogma because of the translation by the Christian churches, etc., who had no knowledge of extraterrestrials. They have turned the spiritual community of beings who have existed in other galaxies into gods or into angels and gave them a bunch of names that didn't apply to them. And so you just happen to mention one who was very powerful. Yanun, his name is. They say Yanin. It's pronounced Yanun, depending on the dialect of what galaxy you're in, the pronunciation changes. And the one you described was another one called Rama, who's asking you about Yanin because Yanin is assigned to give you answers about the things that you need to know in this time and the time that you've come from, to be able to distinguish the 144,000 who would be those extraterrestrial beings, prepare them to create that whirlwind and make that ascension out of this state, which they call the rapture, rising up from the earth while it goes through its turmoil with the Lamb, as they refer to him, which is merely a symbol of a humble being from an extraterrestrial. And what the Quran says, we sent you down to earth. They keep missing. It says, when there's a turmoil in the garden in heaven, then we cast you down to earth in the Quran. From where? The angels come down. From where? From floating around in the sky. No, they sent you down to Argos, which is earth, the blue planet, They sent you here from other galaxies. When you violated the law, intergalactical law, you was cast down here like prison. You all are wayward, as you call it. I don't know a better word for it.
Now, he said that she was cast down to a prison because, you know, when you understand that, you know, the carbon body is a light prism trapped inside of a light prison, right? So we're trapped in this prism in a low dimensional state to three-dimensional reality under a grid system. This is what keeps you under light code lockdown, under the lunar light lock, under the Saturn Moon Matrix system, which is a direct energy weapon that controls everything through humanity. Yeah, I watched that moon video I put out not too long ago, talking about how the moon is fake.
Into a prison. Earth is a prison you call it in. And you are people who rebel, who would listen to Satan, as you call him, which was a Godzilla then, or Tanush. You listen to him. You follow, and you've been assigned to Earth until you overcome that. Until you turn. And
you only overcome that when you tap into the spirit of Melchizedek. But like I said, everybody is not going to be able to reap the benefits of that because, like I said, everybody, you know, people come to this planet, you know what I'm saying? They here to protect the matrix system. They're not here to deviate from it. They're here to protect it. That's their purpose. Their purpose is to deviate the 144,000 in order to tap into their higher abilities, in order for us to tap into our purpose. That's what they're here for. They're here to basically deviate us from the, you know, of us tapping into our godhood to where we would basically become supreme beings when you're talking about the Schumann resonance spike that's connected to our neurological and our biological functions. So, ladies and gentlemen, get this video out there. It's very important because, you know, the planet is going through an ascension stage, right? You have to be vibrating at a certain frequency. You got to be able to tap into the spirit of Melchizedek, which is operating through self-realization and animism, to where you deviate from inanimate objects, right? Because everything that's stuck in the three-dimensional state, they supplicate your emotions and they transmute it into a weakness. So now you have a weakness through everything that you have an emotional attachment to. So you have to operate from a path of Malakut, which is the heart space, right? Which is 0 point energy. So when you operate in a 0 point energy, that puts you in a state of balance because everything in nature is predicated upon balance. So in order to ascend, in order to acclimate yourself to the circadian rhythm and the biorhythm of the planet, you have to be in balance as the planet is going back into balance from the cosmic divine feminine energy that's coming to the planet from the Schumann resonance spikes, going from 7.83 megahertz frequency to 13.13 megahertz frequency, which is the cream mother seal, which is the sigil of Mother Nature. So, ladies and gentlemen, get your notes out. Go back and look at this video. This video is very important because, you know, there's a lot of things that's going to be taking place and a lot of people are not going to be able to decipher what's really going on. You know what I'm saying? So this video is a video that's basically going to put everything in perspective for those who are, you know, the 144,000 chosen ones. So in order to be chosen, like I said, it's not, you know, based on it's based on a chosen people that can tap into a certain energy. So that certain energy is operating through a state of godhood. So when you break down the acronym of God, you got gamma radiation, omicron radiation, and delta radiation. And those radiations is connected to your energetic morphic field that's connected to the brain cavity that helps you harmonize with the brainwave functions of the Schumann resonance, right? So that, like I said, that's not a coincidence that the Schumann resonance, when you look at the frequencies of it, it's basically emulation of the heart chakra. You got to be vibrating at the heart space. Everybody is not balanced enough to tap into that energy. So that's why it tells you in all forms of ancient theological context that there's an 144,000 chosen ones. So only the 144,000 can operate and activate the 144,000 crystals, right, which are the magnetites and the dendrites. right? Which is connected to the neuroendocrine transducer to where you activate the Gaia body, which is it's basically like it's an electromagnetic generator light code transducer. So it's acting as a buffer of an influx of energy that's permeating your biological functions to where you reformulate your DNA back into its etheric state. So like I said, you got to protect your sexual energy. Stay away from them exes. I know they trying to holler at you. They see you doing good and things of that nature. They want you to come over. Stay tapped into your energy. Don't let the amenities of the world deviate you from your purpose, right? So like I said, in order to get this autonomous tranquility, build up your energetic space to where you don't need outside stimulation. You don't need to go over to that person's house. Everything you got in your house is right there. You know what I'm saying? Stop worrying about going to the club. You know what I'm saying? If you in a relationship and your girl like going out, or your wife like going out, or your husband or your boyfriend like going out, don't worry about going to the club. Tell them that we can dance in the house. You know what I'm saying? We can get a glass of wine and we can dance in the house. We ain't got to go to the club. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna be right here. We're gonna secure our energy, right? So that's one of the things like I said, you got to be able to tap into these higher frequencies in order to harmonize with the planet, because you got cosmic energy that's coming down to the planet and it's starting to activate the synapses, right, which is connected to your epigenetics. It's activating everything all around us, you know what I'm saying, from nature to trees, the animals, and to the original people. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching this video. Get this video out there. And the book is basically finished. And for those of you who got the pre-order, we sending out emails to everybody. I'm going to be the first ones to get the book. And I listened to the whole thing. It's amazing. It's amazing. I listened to the whole thing, you know what I'm saying? I was tapped in, and then once the book was done, I was like, man, I need to listen to more. So has a cinematic format. You're going to get what you pay for. You know what I'm saying? It's a really good book. It's only $20. I'm going to leave the link at the bottom of the video on how you can get these pre-orders before they come out. We looking to shoot for a date around July 5th for the book to be available for purchase or whatever. But the book is good, man. It's a classic. I'm not finna spill the beans, but we have it comes down to the fact that we have Dr. York is also a part of the book, and he's also a supreme being Anunnaki, and he's fighting off CIA agents trying to protect this book that I got. So you gotta watch, you gotta listen to get this book, man. It's very good. It's very informational. Has a lot of edification, and it's gonna, it's gonna make you reap the benefits of understanding who you are from a entertainment level. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching this video. Get this video out there. End of transmission.
Is art imitating life, or is life imitating art?
This audiobook is breaking the spell and unlocking the truth about it all. Bedell 1014. We will put an end to this madness. He's pinned against the wall.
Are you serious, B? Wow, that's crazy. Where are you now?
Will this creature be in the game?
Hey, wow, what a mess we have here. Let me introduce myself.
Bedell did not take any chance in looking back.
We all know they live among us. Watch your boy Bedell navigate through the Matrix as you experience a Bridal Rice-based story, The Tome of Macabre.